How are you today? Today, I'm going to be flying from Eugene, Oregon to Seattle, Washington on a Delta Airlines Embraer 175 in the first class cabin, and I'm going to share my experience with you. Come along with me. A great city for the arts and outdoors, the Emerald City of Eugene is the seat of Lane County, and with a population of over 170,000, the Eugene Airport is the fifth largest airport in the Pacific Northwest. Eugene is known for the arts, and that is quite evident in the airport terminal. There is art all over the terminal, both landside and airside. The landside art affords those without a ticket to take it all in, and even with a ticket to Seattle today, I spent a considerable amount of time landside just observing the many pieces of art that the airport had to offer. The art is diverse and unique here, like this whimsical, oversized duck. It definitely adds character to the airport. The terminal is old, but there's a very cozy feeling that I have here. And cozy it is. Wooden beams along the ceiling are warm and suggest being in a lodge. The terminal is proud of its position in the Northwest and showcases what you can find here, like local wines arranged in a very nice display in the baggage claim area for all arriving passengers to see. There's even a restaurant that serves food on both the airside and landside. It's a carefully coordinated concept allowing for one kitchen to serve those with and those without airline tickets. I've got one bag to check for my trip up to Seattle. The airline check-in area desks are located on the right side of the terminal. 8 airlines fly to Eugene, including AHA, which brought me here. Don't forget to check out my video of AHA that I posted on November 21st, 2021. Today my carrier is Delta. Delta offers service to Salt Lake City and Seattle from Eugene. I used the Sky Priority check-in lane to check in for my flight to Seattle today. On the way to TSA, in the middle of the terminal, I took in a little more art and made some last-minute purchases in the gift shop, and then it was off to the obligatory TSA checkpoint. Beyond TSA, there are 2 gate areas. One is on the ramp level and one is 1 level up. My gate will be in the upper level, but I'll show you the lower level first. Remember the landside restaurant? Here's the airside portion of it just past TSA, nestled next to the lower level gates. I like the artwork at this airport. Most of the action takes place upstairs, and that's where my Embraer 175 will be, so I'm going to head up the escalator to the top. The upper-level A gates rest in a separate building that's connected by a bridge. I thought that having a separate structure is quite unique for such a small airport. The bridge has some very nice views of the airport operations. I made a stop on the bridge for a small snack before my flight. I like this area a lot. It's quiet and offers nice views. Continuing on, there is still more shopping and dining available for passengers. The turns in this building give the impression that the terminal is that of a much larger airport, but upon arriving at the gate area, you can see that the space is quite limited, and this is indeed an airport for a smaller city. I like the terminal. Although old, both the airside and landside have a certain appeal, and there are plenty of windows to allow you to observe ramp and runway activity. And, just like we saw earlier in this video, there's plenty of art to keep you occupied up here. And then it started to rain. Rain is never welcome when you're trying to film out a window. This impeded my ability to watch my Embraer 175 land. That's it there, coming in on final approach to runway 16 right. The plane was much easier to see as it arrived at the gate. This airplane first flew in 2018, and the flight is going to be operated by SkyWest today. Let's head on over to Seattle. After deplaning, once the gate agent reopens the door, I know it's time for boarding. As a first-class passenger, I can board immediately after those who need assistance and U.S. military members. Let's go to SeaTac. I've been on this aircraft type several times, and I really like the single seat. At the time of booking, only the single seat on the left side was available, but I know that in Seattle, the wind is coming out of the south, and that means we'll need to pass by the airport to the west, then turn right around the city to land. That means that the right side of the plane has the best views. Well, I've got a solution for that, but I'll let you in on that after we take off. I like this aircraft type. I say seize the opportunity to fly on the Embraer 175 if you can. The seats are incredible and comfortable in first class. They're well padded and have a great Delta first class look. The seats are almost too comfortable for someone who likes to sit up and look out the window the entire flight. With large windows, it feels like a much bigger plane than it really is, and there is plenty of legroom. We are ready for pushback from gate Alpha 2 on the Eugene ramp. I had spent quite a bit of time at the Eugene Airport, and unfortunately it started raining as the show started. This made the ground crew staff absolutely soaked. You've got to give those people a lot of credit. They are among the very few directly involved in aircraft safety that have to be outdoors no matter what the weather is. We're about to be released to the FAA control tower so we can start our taxi in the darkness and rain to runway 16 right. But we're not lost. Taxiway edge lights are blue, and that makes it very easy to follow the taxiway center line as ground control tells us to take taxiway Alpha to the runway. As we get closer to the runway, we switch over to the local controller and are cleared for takeoff on the 8,009-foot long runway. I'm glad I'm on the left side of the airplane for this, as the left side provides a nice view of the runway lit with white lights, and the red visual approach slope indicator lights for arriving flights. Our two General Electric CF34 high bypass turbofan engines are powering our flight so we can head toward the sky. The Embraer 175 has a rate of climb of 2,300 feet per minute, and we're climbing to 22,000 feet today under the control of the Cascade Departure Controller. Almost all of the state of Oregon's high-altitude traffic is controlled by the Seattle Air Route Traffic Control Center, and once we get to a higher altitude, we'll talk to a center controller in Auburn, Washington. Traffic is very light in the area tonight, and there's not a lot in the way to restrict our climb, so we continue our climb. We are currently heading 164 degrees, runway heading. Our destination airport is in the complete opposite direction that we're heading in now, so of course we'll need to turn. In a few moments, we'll start a left turn to the east, then to the north, so we can head on up to Seattle. And the view tonight is going to be the city of Eugene. There's not a lot to see at our cruising altitude tonight, so my mind is focused on the approach to Seattle. This is a very short flight, and I know that the right side of the aircraft provides the best views, so with my entire row empty from window to window, I switched on over to the window seat on the right side. The window seat on the right is part of a two-seat set, but I was lucky to not have any passenger near me. I am so happy that I get to experience the best that the departure has to offer, and now the best that the approach has to offer because of my empty row. This is going to be a memorable approach. We've already begun our descent via the Hawks 7 arrival procedure. Hawks? That sounds like a reference to the Seattle Seahawks, which is based in Seattle. It's nice how the procedure is given a local touch. This procedure is for arrivals from the south, like us. As we get closer to Seattle and the metropolitan area, we receive guidance from the Seattle Approach Controller. Today, we'll be landing on runway 16 right, the same runway designation as our departure runway in Eugene. This runway is in the opposite direction that we're flying in now, so we need to pass by the airport to its west, then swing around to the right, back towards the runway, all under the control of the Seattle Approach Controller. Eventually, the airport itself comes into view. The terminal area is represented by orange lights which illuminate the ramp. Lights on the ramp are important as there are many ground personnel that operate very close to the aircraft. The dark area below this are the 3 parallel runways. Runways are not lit with flood lighting, but rather with centerline and edge lights, which are much more visible when closer to the airport. We're still high and need to continue on to the north. We need to be established on the final approach several miles out in the opposite direction that we're flying now. This is something I am not complaining about because I'm in for some great views of the evening skyline of Seattle. As we pass to the west of the airport, we slow down and descend lower while over Puget Sound, affording some views of the city. Do you like the city view now? It's about to get even better as we turn back around to land. How far out we go depends on how much traffic is inbound to the airport. If there were no traffic in front of us, we'd turn right quickly, but we are not the only one coming in. There are aircraft that are following the same route as us, as well as aircraft coming in from the north, as well as traffic coming from the east that will make a left turn to join the final approach course. We make our right turn over the northern parts of the Seattle area and are instructed by the approach controller to join the ILS approach course and contact the Seattle ATCT, or Air Traffic Control Tower, where we receive clearance to land on runway 16 right, one of the 3 parallel runways. We're appropriately spaced between arrivals and are all set to land. The runway is in sight, and from the cockpit, the approach lights can be seen. Once we land, we'll turn to the left, cross the other 2 parallel runways, and receive taxi instructions through our gate. Our flight from Eugene will be complete. Well, thanks so much for watching this video. My channel provides an in-depth look at flights focusing on what's going on outside the aircraft more than what's going on inside the aircraft. Highly detailed, narrated videos is what this channel is all about. So please consider subscribing if you haven't done so. Hit that like button, and you can be assured that I'll be producing a lot more videos for your viewing pleasure very, very soon. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and welcome to Seattle.
Base crew, we've enjoyed having you on board and we look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful evening.
Remember that if you're not subscribed to my channel, you're missing out on one of the most interesting and inspiring aviation channels out there, so consider subscribing so you don't miss my next video.